Hi everyone, for my vlog today, I'm going to be talking about my experience using the Shiseido Clear Sunscreen Stick. Now, I have been using this on and off for the past few weeks now, and I have to say that I actually love the effect that it leaves on my skin, and of course, on the way that it actually protects my skin from the sun. Now, the packaging of this is a very compact kind of a packaging. You can keep this in your bag, and you can, keep this in your pocket where it's perfect. It's actually perfect for on the go. So as you guys can see here, it comes in a nice blue packaging. So the yellow here is actually the dial that is used to dial up the product and dial it down. Now the formula comes in a gel type of a formula, and it looks to be clear, but it has a very light blue tint to it. And also one other thing, this actually has a scent. So if you're someone who's sensitive to scents, this might not be for you, or try it out first before you actually apply it on your face before you get a reaction that you don't need. Now, the scent of this, as I've said in my Japan haul video, it has a very nice citrusy and floral scent. And every time I smell it, it invokes the image of frolicking at the seashore. Also one other thing, by the way, since we're talking about scents, it actually lingers on the skin. So if you have a very good amount of sunscreen on your skin, every so often when the wind blows, you can smell a hint of the scent of this. So again, if you have sensitive skin, especially to scents, do try this out first. Just do a spot check before you actually purchase it. Now, it's actually very easy to apply the sunscreen. The stick glides smoothly and effortlessly on the face, with very minimal pressure. But what I like to do is that after the initial application, I actually use my fingers to massage the gel sunscreen into my skin, just to make sure that every nook and cranny of my face is covered with product. Now, by the way, this sunscreen has two botanical ingredients. One is soybean lecithin, which helps fight against skin aging, and the other is an oil-soluble licorice extract, which prevents uneven skin tone. How cool is that? So this is the overall effect that the Shiseido Clear Sunscreen Stick looks on my skin. So as you guys can see, it looks very, very dewy, borderline greasy, but truthfully, it wasn't as greasy as I thought that it was going to be. And I'm basing this off of my first time experience using a sunscreen stick. I still have it here, by the way. So my first sunscreen stick was actually from La Rosée. Now this one had a very, very greasy look on my skin, wherein it felt like I was a walking grease ball. And I didn't like that at all, because this made me feel a little bit unpretty, because I am someone who has oily skin, and although I don't like to mattify my face, I also don't like it when my skin looks extremely oily. Anyway, I'm gonna put the link down in the description box to my experience using this sunscreen so that you can know what I'm talking about. But I have to say though that the formula of this is great. It still has SPF50 and it has UVA and UVB protection. But the fact that this has apricot oil in it, I just didn't like the way that it looked on my skin. I'm sure on the beach it will be fine. The additional glow that this apricot oil will give will be amazing, but on a daily basis, no. And that's one thing that I appreciated with the Shiseido sunscreen stick, because this one, although it looks to be very moisturizing and very dewy, it still makes me feel and look pretty. It doesn't make me feel like I'm one entire grease ball. And also one other thing, this one has a very nice lightweight formula, and it doesn't leave additional texture on my skin the same way that this one actually left a very it left some texture on my skin, and I could really feel it, especially when I'm moving my face, when I'm very animated, when I'm talking with my friends or my partner. And I just think that because this one has a very waxy base, it was that waxy nature that just made this very, very uncomfortable to wear. And I still have it. I haven't really finished it. So I think my partner uses this when he's at the water, but I don't use this anymore because it's just one formula that I don't like to use on myself. Anyway, so I'm actually glad that I got this, because this one has a formula that actually works with me. Still very lightweight, leaves a very nice glossy finish on the skin, not greasy, also very lightweight, wherein it feels like my skin is still able to breathe. Now, there are some things about this product that I was very curious about, especially with their callouts. Like, just like, especially in the way that they advertise this basing off the technology that they actually use to create this. So, according to the packaging here, it actually has Synchro Shield technology, and that made me very curious because I said to myself, what is the Synchro Shield technology? So, does this mean that I'm paying the technology used in creating this? That's why this actually has a hefty price tag, because this one has a price tag of $30 in the United States. Now, according to the Shiseido website, Shiseido's clear sunscreen stick SPF50 Plus now includes Synchro Shield technology, wherein their innovative wet force and heat force technology creates an invisible, lightweight, protective veil that becomes more effective in water and heat. When I first read that, I was like, what do they mean by that? So I scrolled some more and it actually is here. So heat force technology is actually a heat sensing essence in the lotion that becomes activated by external heat, forming a stronger barrier. Isn't that amazing? And wet force technology is, well, according here, it says that negative ions in the formula combine with positive ions in perspiration and water to create an additional layer of invisible sun protection. So as you continue to sweat and get wet, the product becomes more effective without any white cast. Wow, what amazing call out. So I'm actually quite intrigued with the technology that they actually use with this. But so far, I really don't know if it's very useful, but I can really say though that it actually stays on my skin for a extremely long time, even if I swim in the water, things like that. So I have not had any bad reactions to this, nor any bad experiences at all. So isn't that amazing, the technology used for this sunscreen? So I really love these kinds of scientific things, because it kind of plays up with my imagination, and also it just makes me continue to think some more that if I'm going to spend money on sunscreen, I should spend it on something that is well researched, and also it also has some kind of technology that actually works to my advantage. So I really love that. Also, one other thing, here on the website, I have just read that this is actually free of oxybenzone and octinoxate, so which is compliant with Hawaii regulations, so which means that this is actually reef safe. So it's for all skin types, dermatologist tested, ophthalmologist tested, non-comedogenic, and it's actually water resistant for 80 minutes, which is actually great, because there are some sunscreens in the market today wherein they don't put a water resistant time frame. They just tell you reapply every 2 to 3 hours. So at least with this one, by the 18-minute mark, it's time to actually reapply the sunscreen. Okay, so also one other thing that I found very, very interesting with the Shiseido sunscreen stick here is actually you can use it under makeup and on top of makeup. So that's also one of the main reasons why I wanted to vlog today, because as I've said earlier, I have already used this on and off for the past few weeks, and I love the effect that it has left on my skin, the way that it works for me, and the longevity. Also, the most important thing, by the way, it's not difficult to remove, because this one was very difficult to remove on the skin. So but anywho, so what I'm going to be doing right now is I'm just going to apply a thin layer of makeup on top, so maybe concealer, foundation, powder, blush, and then after that I'm going to apply some sunscreen on top from Shiseido to see if it will actually work. So this is my first time to actually apply sunscreen on top of makeup, so this is a very nice experience for me to do, and I'm glad that I'm doing this with you. So I'm gonna put on some makeup now. It was actually very easy to apply and layer my foundation and concealer on top of this sunscreen formula. I was actually very surprised in how easy it was for me to spread these products on top of my skin, so I was very happy with that. And the most important thing though is that the sunscreen formula did not affect the color tones of my foundation and concealer. But one thing though that I have noticed is that it actually thinned out the formula of the concealer and the foundation, which is actually understandable, because after all, this sunscreen formula is quite thick. Now, I was also very relieved that my powder products applied nicely and smoothly on my face. There was no clumping and cakiness whatsoever, because I was actually a little bit worried, because if a formula is quite thick and you apply powder on top of that, the tendency is sometimes the powder tends to clump up and to look cakey, because that's just what powder does, like, especially if you put it on top of like very creamy formula. So I'm very happy that this went on quite smoothly. Now, if there's one thing that I have noticed is that my makeup brushes actually picked up a ton of the sunscreen formula and it clumped up the bristles, but I was just very happy that I was actually able to, like, create a very nice smooth makeup look despite my makeup brushes clumping up. So that's the only thing I didn't like about the process. Okay, so I have some makeup on right now, which I hastily applied because I'm quite excited for this next leg of our activity, because I want to see how well this will actually apply on top of makeup, and we'll try to see if it will disturb the makeup products that I have just applied on top of my skin. So let's try it out now. So actually a little bit scared, because what actually destroys makeup from sticking to the skin is actually friction. And of course, the action of actually applying and rubbing the sunscreen stick on my skin right now is applying friction onto my face, and I am praying and hoping that it doesn't actually destroy the makeup application that I did at all. But as you guys can see, I'm actually very careful in the way that I actually spread the sunscreen and apply it using the stick. I'm just doing it in one direction most of the time. Okay. Wow. Now I have to say though that it actually did not affect my makeup that I applied. I'm using my mirror right now. I'm actually quite surprised by it. So I don't see any breakdown of the formula, especially here around my nose area. But then again, it was a very thin layer of makeup, so maybe that's something that we should look into. But so far, look at that. I'm actually quite surprised that it did work. Okay, so I'm very, very happy with that. Oh, cool. So if you love wearing makeup on a daily basis and if you're exposed to the sun most of the time for work, so at least now you know that you can actually use this to apply on top of your makeup, just so that it really protects you from the sun. And also one thing that I have observed is that it doesn't really pick up a ton of makeup residue. So let me just try to see if... Okay, so there's a little bit of makeup residue on the top of the sunscreen stick here, but it wasn't as I thought it was gonna pick up more, but it actually did not at all. So I'm actually quite surprised with that, although it still looks very, very nice and very glowy. So if that's the kind of look that you're going for, then so be it. They all kind of look well together. And of course, one other thing, I didn't use any cream products for our activity today, because I was thinking if I would be using cream, maybe it might be more difficult. So that's why I used more powdered products at the moment. But yeah, so wow, again, I'm actually still quite surprised that it actually did not destroy the makeup that I applied at all. Fantastic. So let me just maybe set the under eye area just to tone it down. That kind of worked. I like that. And then I'm just gonna leave my cheeks free from powder. That's good. So there's a very nice balance of matte and dewiness right now. So that just really helps to bring down and tone down that shine. Okay, I'm quite happy with that. Yeah, so I believe that's it. That's my vlog for today. I hope that you guys enjoyed me talking to you and telling you guys my experience using this. And of course, I hope that you guys also enjoyed our little activity today of actually applying the Shiseido Clear Sunscreen Stick on top of makeup, because this is one of their call outs in their website and we just really had to test that out. But then again, my makeup routine and my makeup sentiments might be very different from yours, and if you do have this, maybe your experience is entirely different from mine. So if you had this and you've also done this experience, please let me know down in the comments box how it has worked for you, and maybe let's have a conversation about it. Okay, yeah, so I believe that's it. And oh yeah, before I truly let you go, one other thing, by the way, I'm actually quite surprised on how soft the sunscreen stick, the gel formula is, because as you guys can see, I am someone who actually has texture on the skin because I have a beard on, and when my beard is thicker and fuller, it actually changes the texture of the top of my sunscreen stick here. I can actually see a lot of indentations on the sunscreen stick, and I really thought that it was going to destroy the overall experience of me using the sunscreen stick. But I have noticed that over time, as I continue to use the sunscreen stick on the much more smoother part of my face, the texture that happened on the sunscreen stick here also has actually smoothed itself out. So also in me saying that, if you actually run this through your beard, it clings to your beard a little bit. Just make sure to massage it on your face so that it just creates a much more even finish, and you don't see this gel products on your beard. So massaging it just really helps it. And of course, as we read in the website earlier, the heat actually intensifies the protective nature of this sunscreen. So yeah, all right, so that's it for me today. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. So if you have any more questions, please let me know down in the comments box, and of course we will talk about it. All right, okay, so I'm gonna let you guys go now. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for being here, and I hope that you're having a good day wherever you are. Bye bye. Hey guys, so this is a postscript. I forgot to do this earlier, so I'm now near the laundry area here in the house. And the reason why I'm here right now is because I have actually also noticed that this Shiseido sunscreen stick actually stains the shirt and leaves a pink stain, especially if you use bleach on your white shirt. This is the only thing that I don't like about it, but overall the effect on my skin is actually amazing. So just for example, I'm going to apply some of this Shiseido sunscreen stick on this piece of tissue paper because I don't want to use a white shirt for this experiment. And let me just roll this down, put the cap on, and as you see here, we have a bottle of bleach, and if we just pour a little bit of this on here, you guys can see that it's actually creating a pink stain on this piece of tissue. So as you guys can see, the pink stain is intensifying a little bit as the bleach continues to seep through it. So again, as a heat of warning, if you love using white t-shirts, make sure that when you actually use this, you have to use warm water just to break down the residue that is left on your shirt, because that just makes it easier to clean, and of course it doesn't leave residue on your shirt. So here you go, so it's now pink here. So as it gets oxidized, it gets pink here. Okay, so again, just take heed of that. So if you don't want any pink stains or residue on your shirts, when you use this, don't use it with white clothes. Okay, just take it from me as someone who loves to wear a lot of white clothes. All right, so that's it. Thank you so much for watching. See you soon.